Hi, and welcome to the Crochet Junkie podcast. My name is Amber. You can find me as Crochet Junkie on most of the social media outlets, Instagram, Facebook. On Ravelry, I am Crochet Junkie with the number 6. I also have a Ravelry group, the Crochet Junkie podcast. Come and join, say hello. On my group, I was wanting to do a magic ball swap, but I'm not getting a lot of interest in that. I have had like one person message me. Hi. One person that messaged me about it. If you don't know what a magic yarn ball swap is, it's taking a ball of yarn and hiding little treasures in it, like some tea or a tag, a chocolate, a stitch marker, just something small that you can conceal as you wind up a ball of yarn. And I was thinking like 10 to 15 little small things. If you would like to do that, come and join the podcast group, come and join the Magic Yarn Ball Swap. I would love to get more people on board with this. And I was also wanting to do some mini skein swaps. My friend Amy and I are going to do a swap, but I have lots of yarn that I could swap. So if somebody else wanted to do a swap with me, give me a shout on Instagram or on Ravelry. Shoot me a message and tell me what kind of yarn you like, and I'll see if I can't accommodate you, and we can do a fun little swap. I'm podcasting outside today. Hopefully the sound quality isn't terrible. We do live kind of close to a busy road. I'm kind of hoping the traffic isn't too annoying. It is windy out here. There's a really nice breeze today. That's part of the reason why I wanted to come outside and do this. I live in Texas, as I've mentioned, and we have hot summers. So we take advantage of all the breezes we can. You can kind of see the lake behind me. Not super good. It's all washed out. Let me see if I'll sit back and it will refocus. So that's the lake right there. I've mentioned that we live on the lake, so I thought I'd sit out here so you can kind of see it. I have not done a lot of knitting this week. I've not done any crocheting at all, and gosh. Well, no, I crocheted that little dobby, so I guess I have done some crocheting. I think there was a bird, maybe a hummingbird. We have lots of hummingbirds here. I saw one just fly. Sorry, it distracted me. And I have flies, so if you see the flies, yeah, they're gross. That's living at the lake for you. I crocheted that dobby. I went to my Harry Potter party last week. She loved her present. She thought it was the greatest little thing, and it was a big hit. Everybody there thought it was really cool, so that was nice. I visited with my mom and dad. Both live in that town too. I went back for a high school friend's birthday party, and so I swung by and saw my parents separate. They were separated, so I had to go to different places. And then when I came home, the girls stayed here with their dad, and they were so happy when I got home. It was so nice to be welcomed back, like, oh, Mom, we missed you. So that was really great. And then this week has just been kind of crazy. It flew by, and my husband's buddy called him, and he said that he had a trip planned for a couple months now to go to Maine to go eat lobster. The story is he and one of his coworkers, our buddy, wanted to go to this lobster festival in Maine, and so they planned a trip for it. Well, the guy canceled at the last minute, and so my husband, his friend asked him, hey, can you go? My husband's got a super flexible work schedule, so he's like, oh yeah, heck yeah, I can go. My husband loves seafood, loves lobster. That's his favorite thing to eat. So, I mean, he was on board. He was on board with going to Maine, and I was so bummed. I've always wanted to go to Maine. I love the whole... I love both coasts, really. I used to live in the Pacific Northwest when I was very small, and I've always wanted to live in Washington again. It's so beautiful up there. I've never been as a child, teenager, adult, I only remember it from pictures. So I would love to go back. I would love to visit Maine or live there even. So I was kind of bummed. I was kind of bummed that he was like jetting off to take this last minute vacation. And I told him, you better, did you see the fly land on the lens? That was funny. I said, you better bring me back some yarn. You know, you should go up there to Maine and go yarn shopping and bring me back some yarn. And that's one of the things that we always do. When we go on vacations, I always look up and try to go to a local yarn store. I don't see my husband doing that at all. I do not think that he's going to bring me home yarn. If he does, there's probably quite a bit of brownie points in it for him. So we'll see. We'll see. I spoke to him just briefly today on the phone, and he said that he was looking for a yarn shop. But he's a prankster and a practical joker, and I just don't see he and his friend walking into a yarn shop. I mean, they might, but who knows. I really wanted coffee, but it's just so hot. It's so hot. I can't drink coffee outside in the summertime. I can drink coffee all day long, just not outside in the summer. So I have my water. And yeah, I haven't really worked on very many things. I did finish Prudence's, I did not finish them. I'm working on finishing them. Her elephant socks. So I mentioned that she came, my 4-year-old is named Prudence, and she came to me. I was making everybody socks. I've made my husband 2 pair. I've made myself a pair. I've made my 9-year-old a pair. Sorry about the shaking. The wind is like making the camera vibrate. Not sure how to fix it. So she came to me as I'm making everyone socks, and she says, Mama, you make everybody socks. I would like a pair of socks. And she told me she wanted a blue, purple, and green pattern. And then she says, no, I want blue elephant socks. So I found a pattern on the Lion Brand website for elephant socks, and I followed it loosely, but not really. Their cast on requested 40 stitches for the largest size, and I did 40 stitches, and that was still, like, it was stretched to capacity on Prudence's little leg. So I ripped that out, and she goes, oh, you're tearing apart my sock. And I said, no, I'm just going to make it bigger. And she wasn't happy about that, and she said that it was fine, and I was like, no, it's really not. But it will be. It will be fine. Let me just rework them. And so I did, and this is, oh gosh, it's so windy. This is 48 stitches, I think. And then I just did 1x1 rib for like 9 or 10 rows, and then just your plain stockinette sock. And then for the ears, the pattern called to do some pink in there, and she didn't want any pink in her ears. So, and it didn't have a tusk on it, just the ears and eyes, or not a tusk, but a trunk. And so I just did an I-cord for the trunk. And she is in love with them, and they fit her foot really well. She's even got a little bit of extra, not extra room, but there's definitely some positive ease in them, so I think they'll probably fit her for about a year, I'm hoping, with the amount of time it took me. These took me a week to knit. I mean, I swear. I'm not a fast knitter anyway, but I feel like these shouldn't have taken me that long. It takes me a week to knit my husband's socks. So this is the only thing I've worked on all week, just these socks. I haven't touched anything else but these socks. And so I got both of the socks done, and I even have, sorry about the bouncing, I tried to put something against it, but it's not really helping. There. I do have the ears and the trunk done for this one. I just need to sew them on, which I'll do after this podcast. But she saw this, and she is just in love with it. And I am too. I think I nailed it. My little 4-year-old asked for elephant socks, and I mean, how happy would you be if you were 4 years old and your mommy made you little elephant socks? She's obsessed with elephants, and strangely enough, she's always been obsessed with elephants ever since she was an infant. An elephant was her first animal noise, and they're just her favorite animal. They've just always been her favorite animal. And so after I get done doing that other ears and trunk, which won't take me but a couple of minutes to finish up, I am not taking any other project out until I finish my Macintosh knit along, and we're doing the 3-color cashmere cowl, except I didn't get cashmere yarn, so I'm just calling mine the 3-color cowl. And it's still in the same place it was when I showed y'all last time, because every single time I sit down to work on this lace bit, my kids start talking to me. And I cannot count and do lace if they're talking to me. I need total focus and concentration, and I haven't had any focus and concentration time. But my knitting friend came to visit me on Friday, and she just laughed at me and shook her head, because I'm literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, probably like 20 rows from being done. Okay? It's not going to take me any time at all to finish if I just sit down and tell my kids, shh, let me finish this. Maybe I'll plug them in a movie or something tonight, and go sit in my room and quietly count. But another problem with this is I know that I did some of this lace wrong because they screwed up my counting, and I didn't want to rip it back because it's really hard for me to rip back. If y'all know a tip or a trick for ripping back, I'd love to hear it, but I cannot pick up my stitches once I've ripped back. It just I seem to pull more stitches out. Does that make sense? They just keep pulling out, and then I'm like, oh my god, all my stitches are disappearing. And yeah, I don't know. I think that I'll just keep going and fudge on the lace, because it's for my 9-year-old. She's not going to sit there and with a magnifying glass and check my errors. She's not going to care about her lace being off. She's just not. So I'll probably just keep going, mistakes and all. I really, really love the colors on this. You can't really see them out here. They're a bit washed out. But I used Madeline Tosh Merino Light yarn. And I have all of the information on which colors these are, and you can actually see them better on my project page on Ravelry. That's new to me, doing my projects, like uploading my projects to Ravelry. I've never really utilized that website like I should, because it's amazing. I've only used it for its patterns, never for its endless resources of having all my projects where I can see them, having all my patterns, your queue. I love that. I love that. And so I've been kind of nerding out lately and adding stuff every chance I get. When I have some downtime on the computer, I add more stuff to Ravelry and add my stash and whatnot. So while I was out of town, I was by myself. So of course, where does one find oneself when they're by themselves in the great big city? But at a yarn store. When I went to Knit Night a couple of weeks ago, one of the girls had some carbon DPNs, and I picked them up, and they weren't nearly as bad as I remember my carbon circulars being. If y'all remember me talking about how much I hated my carbon circulars because I felt like the black part, the yarn would drag on it, or just like it would grab it and just hold it, and you couldn't manipulate your stitches very well because of the way it would just hold the yarn. It was frustrating for me. I did not like them. But I wanted to try the DPNs. I don't know why. Everyone loves carbon, so I just thought maybe I just don't like the circulars. So I my yarn store, my local yarn store doesn't have them. And I've mentioned that there's a not really rival yarn store. There's another yarn store in the town that I go to that I didn't like as much. That every time I go in there, they're kind of like, just not overly friendly and maybe a bit snobby. And that was my experience this time as well, though it was a little bit better and a little bit different. I went in there because my friends at Knit Night told me that they have the carbons. They have carbon steepians, and I got them. I got them in the size that I like knitting socks in, which is 2.5 or the 3 millimeter. But no. So with these are my knitting needles that I've made all of my socks on. My husband's 2 pairs, my pair, my daughter's watermelon socks, and even these elephant socks. Knitter's Pride Nova Cubics. And this is a new package because I just ordered these and got some more in the mail. But I have my first set of these, and that's all I've knit my socks on. That's what I like to knit my socks on. And they're kind of the varnish, I guess it's called varnish, or the nickel plating. Is it nickel? Brass. Metallic. Anyway, the coating on my first pair is starting to, in a couple of places, just wear off. And so I wanted to get another pair just so I could have 2 pairs, so I wasn't just having 1 pair of sock needles that I like to use. And I got these, same size, and I knit looser with these. So I don't know, maybe I need like a 2.75 in the carbons. I don't know. That kind of bumps me out that I knit just a little bit looser. I used these right away, right when I got them, and I was going to make my husband some socks, and he's a 72 stitch cast on, but it was huge. It was like ridiculously big and like a newborn head big. I was like, there's no way. How is this possible? But I did knit these ears with the carbons. I did the body with the cubics, but I did the ears and the tusk with the cubics, and they're okay. But I don't know. I think that I'm just a Knitter's Pride cubics person. I like these. I do. And they're cheap. They're like half the price as the carbons. These are. I think I got these for $5 off of Jimmy Beans because I had some points, but I think that they're regularly like 8 or 9 versus these are 16. So I can get 2 sets of these versus just 1 set of these. And then I can get more yarn. No. I did get some yarn. Let me show you what else I got. So I got this. I went in to get the carbons, to get these steepians, and I thought, well, I mean, I'll look at their sock yarn too, because Jennings Street Yarns, that's why I went, in Fort Worth, they have an amazing selection of sock yarn. They just have a really great variety in general, versus Mad Tosh is my local yarn store that I go to Knit Night at, and I love it there. It's amazing. They do have variety, but it's not a lot of variety. It's mostly Madeline Tosh yarn, and it's walls and walls of Madeline Tosh yarn, which is great. I love Madeline Tosh, but I also like variety. And so to go into Jennings Street, there's more variety, a little bit more variety, but they're just completely different stores. Jennings Street, it's super, super, super crowded. I mean, there is yarn shoved in books and notations, just shoved in every little nook and cranny that can fit stuff. And it's really overwhelming when you walk in there because you just don't know where anything is. And it's like all this stuff is like falling out. You pick one thing, you know, one skein of yarn, and like 4 topple down on you. So it's just not, it's not great for somebody who needs order. And I do. For my brain to do any productive activity whatsoever, things have to be kind of centralized and relaxed and orderly. If things are just a bit chaotic, my brain just, it doesn't want to focus. And so going in there is like kind of insane. But this time the owner was in there, and she's great. She's very chatty, very friendly. And the lady that I have always kind of had just not the best experience with was in there too. And I'm thinking she's like the store manager, which you would think a yarn store manager would be friendlier. I don't know. She's very old school. She is like, I don't know, you know, she was the type that would bark at me for looking at the sock yarn. She's like, that's sock yarn. Well, I can make other things than socks. And I did say that today, or when I went that day. I was looking at the sock yarn, and she said, well, that's sock yarn. I said, I know, but I love making socks, but honestly, I love using sock yarn for all kinds of stuff. And she immediately went and got a book and gave it to me, and it was like shawls to socks or something, and just sort of followed me around the entire time. Like, almost intrusive. I want time to browse when I go into a shop. I don't want to feel like I'm being, I don't know. It was just really strange. And I did end up, she was helpful, but in an overbearing way. Like, I want time to browse. I want time to relax. I'm not here to be overly chatty. Unless I have a question about the yarn, just let me browse. But she wasn't like this, and she's just handing me stuff. And I did have a question, and then it was almost as if, like, I wanted some regia. And it was almost as if she was trying to convince me that I didn't want that yarn, that I wanted some other yarn. And I didn't end up getting any regia anyway, just because I didn't have any of the colors I liked. But, like, I don't know. And I get it. I mean, different yarn works for different people, and she was just probably trying to say that she didn't care for it. But it's just the way she goes about it. I wish that you actually had first-hand experience, so you're not sitting here shaking your head wondering what my deal is with this lady. Her and I just aren't compatible. Let's put it that way. But I did get those DPNs, the carbon DPNs, and I got this little sock stitch marker because, you know, I'm obsessed with making socks, and I saw this, and I just had to have it. I had to have it. And I've also been wanting to get some Hiya snips, and I got the puppy, the green puppy. I love these snips. They're just so tiny and cute, but listen, I don't know if you heard that, but they just give such a satisfying snip, and not all my scissors do that, and I really like that snip. I know that seems kind of nutty, but that snip just, it's just so satisfying. And I also wanted to look at their sock yarn because, as I said, they always have a lot of variety, and they had, this one drew me right away. And you can't really see it. It's kind of, there we go, washed out. It's orange and yellow and black and red. It's a variegated yarn. And the colorway is what sold me, because it's called District 12. I am a Hunger Games fanatic. I've read all the books. I'm going to watch all of the movies. I really, really, really love the Hunger Games, and I love this colorway. I don't really like variegated yarn, so I'm hoping that isn't the case with this, because as soon as I got it and ended up with it at home, I was like, oh man, it's super variegated. It's not self-striping, it's variegated, and so hopefully it won't look too busy. And I got this to the counter. I only had my snips, my little snips, my stitch marker, and my carbons, and I was happy. I was going to go home happy. I got my little skein of yarn. And then she told me that this was a local dyer. And so I went back over to peruse because I love supporting local people. I will support local people over ordering things online because, you know, I want people local to me to know that there's local people to them that appreciate this. And this is the brazen stitchery. And she actually works at that yarn store too, but she wasn't in that day. This is the one for District 12. And it's the Harmony sock, brazen stitchery. And then I also, so as soon as she told me that this was a local yarn dyer, I went back over to the little setup and looked at the other colorways to see if I wanted to get anything else, and I saw this, and you can't really see it. Oh, look, the sparkle is showing up. That's cool. So it's sparkly, it's green, and there's some purples and some like orangey yellow tens. It's just really pretty. It's called C'est La Vie. C'est La Vie. And it is the paparazzi sock base, which is 75 superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% stellina. And the District 12 is 75 merino, 25 nylon. And so I have been wanting to make the There and Back Again socks for ages. They have a sampler sock at my local yarn store, and it's just so beautiful, and it's made with a turquoise and purple yarn, and I actually have kind of a blue turquoise and a yellow yarn that I thought about using, and then I have a purple and a green yarn that I thought about using. And then when I got these, I thought, what do these need to be? And I thought, maybe a shawl. I thought maybe the happy shawl for sad people for this one. I thought maybe the Potter's shawl for this one with that applied border that looks like leaves. I just thought that was so pretty, and that would probably look really awesome, and this would just be a really cool fall shawl. But then, as I was sitting there looking at them both, and they just don't show up very good for the camera, but they need to be There and Back Again socks, because this is the Shire, and this is the Fires of Morta. Are they not? Like, they need to be. But then, I was thinking about it, and this one is so super saturated, and this one is so just more muted colors. Maybe finding either a more muted reddy orange or a darker saturated greens to go with this. But I definitely am going to use one of these. I want to do the There and Back Again socks. I just don't know if these will work together very well for that. Originally I thought that they would, just because of the green and the red, the fires. I just thought of that immediately. And I love these. I love these. I'm really happy with these. I have a little bit of yarn guilt. Just a little bit. It'll go away. Yeah, so I also, while I was out of town, I stopped by Michael's, mostly just to look, but I can't remember. I needed these. I have a bracelet that I needed to fix. So I needed to get a little pair of jewelry pliers. I got these for like, I don't know, $5. So I was looking around all of their jewelry stuff. Not that I'm a jewelry maker or designer, but I saw all these little charms and lobster clasps. I was like, oh, I can make myself stitch markers. And I did. I bought a couple of things and I made myself little stitch markers. So there's a little teapot, and it just has a little lobster clasp on top. Then I have a feather. It's turned around. And a camera. I love taking pictures almost as much as I love knitting and crocheting. So I needed a camera. And after I made these, it was so easy to make and so much fun to make, I bought more supplies. I bought some stuff online because this was actually, the terms were kind of expensive, and I found a supplier, and I'm getting a ton of stuff for a pretty good deal. And so I'm going to make a ton more of these and maybe include these into my mini skein swaps or my magic ball, yarn ball swap, depending on what I can, how many I can make and who likes them and all that stuff. So those are my FOs and whips and acquisitions. And I have 3 sweater quantities worth of yarn. So my knit night is wrapping up our knit along to the cow, and they're going to do a sweater knit along. And I originally thought that I really, really wanted to do this sweater knit along. They're doing the Rosemont cardigan. You can look it up on Ravelry. And it's really just simple slip-on cardigan. But I was reading the pattern or the project notes and stuff, and a lot of people have had a lot of problems with the pattern. And I haven't knit a sweater yet. And I don't know that I want the first sweater that I knit to have a pattern that's just full of things that I'm going to have to figure out. As a new knitter, I cannot just use my imagination to figure out how to fix something. In crocheting, that's very simple for me. I can design, I can make up, I can just wing it, and it's easy for me. But with knitting, I don't know enough. I just really don't. And starting something that big, I don't know that I want to do it. And like I said, I have 3 sweater quantities right now of yarn for myself that I haven't used, that I have not touched. I say that I haven't touched it. I started my Noro sweater, but I'm going to rip this out because I've showed you this before. So I've started it and I got this done, and then I switched to the back so I would have the same gauge, and I don't. This is actually a couple of inches bigger. So I'm going to rip this out and rework it. And I'm actually going to join in on Little Bobbins, a purposeful stash knit along. So I am forced to finish this in a timely manner. I'm not real sure how long knit along is going on. I think that it's through September, maybe even October if I'm not mistaken. So I have plenty of time. I can probably make this sweater, I would say, within a week. If this was all I worked on, I would definitely get it done in a week. It's not hard. Most of it is half double crochet. And this pattern is from the Crochet Noro book. I absolutely recommend it. I love everything in this book. It's a beautiful pattern book with beautiful pictures, and the patterns are very, very easy, but very, very beautiful. And so there's another. So it's just like a V-neck. It's got some cabling along the neck and then along the side there. And yeah, so I'm going to rip this out. I'm using the yarn that the pattern asks for. That's rare for me. Usually I substitute, but I love the reds. It's color 84. How original. It's kind of strange because that's the year I was born, so. But, yeah, I'm going to work on this. As soon as I get done with my cowl, like I said, I could probably sit down and if I get the lace done tonight, I'll be done with my cowl tomorrow. And maybe have this done, maybe, probably not, by the time I podcast next. I don't see me being done with it. Even though I say I can knit a sweater in a week, I could. But the actuality of me getting a sweater knit in a week, yeah, I doubt that will happen. And I'll probably knit some more socks. I cannot stop knitting socks. My mom was just here. She came. My sister was supposed to come to visit. I mentioned that in a previous podcast, but she had to cancel, which worked out anyway because my husband loves my sister, and he would have been bummed out if she would have come when he wasn't here, since he's in Maine. She had to cancel, though, because her boyfriend was working, and they're going to come next weekend. And I'm really, really looking forward to... Oh, I forgot to tell y'all. We got camping stuff. Ah! I am so stupid excited about having camping stuff. So my girls are 9 and 4 years old, and they have never been camping. Never. Isn't that sad? Well, I say that. Etrella, we took Etrella as a very small baby, and she's my 9-year-old. And she did fine, but it was really hard to take a small baby camping, and we eventually kind of got rid of our camping stuff, sold our camping stuff, and just, we were moving so much, and we were traveling so much, we just didn't have room for it. To store it any longer. So we got rid of most of it, and we have not been camping in so long. While where we live, there's actually quite a bit of places to go camping. We can go down the river on our canoe and stay overnight, and then there's a place that someone will pick us up and drop us off. So we have a planned trip to do that, to go down the river and to go camping. So we went this week, early in the week, before the car accident, before the surprise trip to Maine. We went and got camping stuff. We spent our vacation money for the year and just got camping stuff. We got our tent, our sleeping bag. Each of us got a backpack to carry our stuff in. And the girls look so cute because they have... My girls are so funny. My oldest is just not very athletic. She is a reader. She's a lot of things. Athletic is not one of them. So she's got her backpack on, and all that it has in it is her sleeping bag, her camp pillow, a little chair, and I say a little chair, I mean like a little, just like a little butt seat. It's not even really a chair. It has no back. It's just a little stool. It just pops out, and it's small. It doesn't hardly weigh anything. I would guess maybe a pound. I doubt it weighs a pound. Probably like 5 ounces. Not 5 ounces, but it's super light. Her pack is super light, and I just don't see her carrying it for very long. We hope to go backpacking with them, and we've looked into a lot of the state parks that are just within 2 hours of us, and there are so many beautiful state parks. So we hope to get at least a couple of camping trips done before school starts back. Eee! I'm so excited. I love camping. I love being outside. I love nature. I love that we got camping stuff because now we can go anywhere. I want to eventually take the girls to all the national parks like Yosemite and the Redwood Forest, Grand Canyon, I mean just everywhere. And the cool thing about camping is you can always take your dogs, whereas staying in a hotel, they don't always allow dogs, especially large dogs. Having a Mastiff, I've always loved having large dogs. I will always own large dogs, but it is a hassle. It is a hassle to travel with dogs, especially large dogs. And so I'm super happy that we got camping stuff. Our dogs can go on vacation with us, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. So if you follow me on Instagram, look forward to more camping pictures. And I think that is all I have for you guys. Thanks for joining me. I hope that the sound quality and all that was okay with me being outside in the wind and the traffic, and you can actually hear the bugs now too. Yeah, thanks for spending your afternoon with me. I hope to see you next time.